This game theory f***ing blows. Don't get me wrong, I, much like every Gen Z kid who was allowed far too much unsupervised internet access at a young age and became terminally online, was a game theory fan when I was younger. The weekly uploads always meant there was something new to watch, and even when the theories were kind of shitty, I still watched them because of how charismatic and charming MatPat was as a host. However, rewatching theories on things I like with more years of experience, I just have to wonder, what the hell is this? This game theory is one of those theories. It opens as most modern game theories do, with introduction shit.
Deltarune Chapter 5 has more lore than people realize.
New chapter, seemingly simple chapter with hidden lore that people don't truly perceive, or something. Susie's fate is gonna be worse than people initially imagined, and
some flowery boys and girls.
Okay, I'm gonna sound like an asshole, and I probably am. Let's assess the flowers. Yellow, blue, and flowery are men, orange and aqua are women, and Seth and green are something, presumably non-binary, agender maybe. But the phrase flowery boys and girls leaves out almost a third of the flowers. Come on, game theory, be a little woker. Anyways, the next 13 minutes and 6 seconds of this video are all effectively filler. I want to stress this to you. In this 16-minute long video, over 3/4 of it is not a theory. Well, there are some theories, but they're ones the community was already discussing and had already made up. There is less than a quarter of a game theory in this game theory. In fact, there is so little of the actual original theory contained within this game theory, I'm going to summarize it in 2 paragraphs. According to this game theory, the final prophecy panel foretold not Susie's death, but her transformation. The same way the dark worlds distort objects in the light world, they can, with sufficient exposure, do the same to lighteners. This is what one of the Death Knight theories hinges off, and it's what they said would happen to her in the video. Susie is spending more and more time in the dark worlds and will soon twist and distort, forgetting herself until she becomes an entity like the night. And the card in Sans' laboratory, presumably the one Susie drew on, saying, "Don't forget," is Sans telling himself to not forget what happened in the weird route and never let it repeat, or further destruction will occur. Now, this theory kinda sounds interesting on the surface, but it crumbles to dust and blows away once you think about it past the very selective and omissive evidence they present. Why would Susie choose to spend more time in the dark worlds if she knew she would become like the night? And why would Rousey let her stay in Castletown at all? He's aware of the final panel's content, so surely he'd try to stop it from happening. And if we want to get meta, why would there be no signs of Susie forgetting things at any point before this? And it's not just the holes in this theory. This video misconstrues so much. Tom says that Susie was saddened by what she saw in the final panel.
However, Susie smashed one of them and seemed upset by what she saw.
No! Game theory, what the f are you doing anymore? Literally 5 seconds after the clip they show ends, Susie is laughing at the prophecy and the concept that her, Rousey, or Chris would ever let whatever it depicted happen. She is not saddened, she finds it foolish. And near the end of the video, Tom also says that Flowery calling Susie a quote-unquote true hero with obvious sarcasm was indicative of him being aware of the fact that Susie will eventually transform into a villain.
Flowey actually alludes to this pretty directly just before the final battle. He suggests destroying Castletown's fountain and leaving theirs alive instead, asking Susie if she would take away someone else's fantasy to keep her own. Susie naturally snaps back about how it's her home, and Flowey simply replies, "Spoken like a true hero." Susie putting hero in quotation marks. Susie is becoming delusional, living in her fantasy world, and over time will start to forget who she really is. Right now, she's our closest friend, but if she keeps hanging out in the dark world, she may become our greatest enemy.
I can't with this, I just can't. Flowery is calling the fun-getting hypocrites who want to take the Flower King Dart Fountain the sapience of the flowers in their dreams when they have a fountain themselves. If their goal is to seal the Dark Fountain to prevent the roaring, shouldn't they seal their fountain as well? If this is how they interpret a very clearly written piece of dialogue, how do they interpret other parts of this game's very deep story? And oh, now I'm really getting into it. This video sucks so much. The theory part is over, that's gone. I'm gonna tear into this video.
And that is truly what Chapter 5 is all about. What I saw when playing this chapter was how everyone is dealing with the tragic loss of Death's holiday.
Chapter 5 is about how different people grieve with the loss of Death. I mean, sure, I guess. Asgore certainly is, as he's now realizing his obsession with the Dark Fountain was pointless, because nobody blamed him and he only pushed away people who loved him. But I don't think that's exactly what's happening to Chris, Noelle, or Susie. And also, why the f is Susie here? We don't know when she moved to hometown, but we know she wasn't a friend of the holidays, and Carol actively hates her! Speaking of the holidays, well, segue, the way this video interprets the Weird Root. This may be the most horrible interpretation of the Weird Root I have ever seen. I'm just gonna play you a clip.
No grave or weird root for Noelle, Des's sister, who, thanks to this root, and some pushing from us, becomes stronger and able to overcome her trauma about Des's disappearance. Noelle is choosing violence out of grief of losing her sibling, with the hope of becoming stronger and escaping this pain.
This is how they interpret the Weird Root. This is how they think the Weird Root goes. I don't need to elaborate on this. I don't need to explain anything. If you're watching this video, you know what the Weird Root is. You know what it's about. You know how being stupid saying the Weird Root is about us giving Noelle the strength to get over Des's. And then Tom, he, him, Chris, barely 15 seconds later. Listen to this at 7 minutes and 30 seconds.
And that Asgore was involved, probably along with Carol, as she seems to be the one calling Chris, telling him not to let Susie know the shelter code.
Did nobody proofread the script they gave Tom? Did nobody review the video before they said, yeah, let's ship it? What the fuck? This entire roughly 20-second long sequence has led to me making a solemn vow to do an acrobatic pirouette off a stump and blow my brains out if this doesn't keep happening. But it does keep happening, because surprise, this video isn't about this Deltarune theory, it's about modern game theory, and film theory, and even old game theory or film theory for that matter, because these channels have been watched as for a long time. I don't like saying this, but it's really the truth, and I can attribute this to one thing, the f***ing weekly upload schedule. The fact that these channels need to make a new video weekly ensures that every video is not that good. There's barely any time to make an actual theory. You gotta meet quota. So they make videos that say basically nothing. That or they say something, but that something's either not true at all, and can be debunked with minimal effort, or not remotely original at all. Let's take one of the most egregious examples I know of. The night is the Pale King theory. Anything I could say on this video is redundant because Mossbag being an excellent nearly hour-long video on this theory, and you should watch it like every Mossbag video, but if you don't want to do that, it can be immediately debunked by the scene in which the Knight and the Pale King is simultaneously in the same space. Not only that, but they tell numerous lies of omission in this video. The White Lady feels the Pale King's presence on the Knight. It's because they're using the King's Soul, half of which is found in the Pale King, not to mention the fact that it's called the King's Soul. Much like this Deltarune theory, it can also be dismantled immediately by one scene or acknowledging what they either unintentionally or more likely deliberately omissed, because if they had not, there would not be a theory. But here's the thing. Rewind back like 20 seconds or so. I say this is the most egregious example I know of. But there are doubtless so many more. I'll list some other theories I know of that suck, but if you're a truck freak level fan of anything game or film theory has covered, you can watch that theory, and odds are the video will say either effectively nothing, or with something they can say can be proven to be wrong, objectively, with very little effort. Again, this applies to so many theories. This doesn't quite apply to food or style theory, because it's a lot harder to f those up, since they're primarily real-life facts and not works of fiction that can be misinterpreted when you have 3 days to write a script. Well, this was the case for style theory before they gave the old yeller. I don't know how to end this. I feel like I've run dry on anger, and now I'm just disappointed. A channel with this much influence in the general gaming community, and with so much influence on me as a person, is just wrong. So frequently. And yeah, it barely matters in the grand scheme if someone makes things that aren't true, but god damn it, I care! This channel had integrity, and now they're just lying to you numerous times every time they make a video. I wish they would just take time to make a good theory and not rush it. So many people were involved in the production process, and I feel like an asshole for saying this to something that they had a hand in. But the fact that something like this
Calling Chris, telling him not
can slip by all of them is madness. They deserve more time to make something good. And on Thursday morning, when I woke up with 5 hours of sleep at 6 AM EST, I checked Twitter like I always do when I wake up. And I saw that Film Theory had just uploaded the entirety of the film The Mist. Sure, this isn't real. No, it's very real. The whole thing. They uploaded an entire movie. What the f***? is happening anymore? And with that, I think I've exhausted everything I have to say. I have more Deltarune coming soon, but I swear it's not the only thing I make. Bye.